man's been around for decades. A former Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP, used to drive his kids around just about 2 months ago. Now he's moving the Browns up and down the field, securing a playoff spot for the entire city and program. Ladies and gentlemen, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe.
Joe.
How we doing? You guys are living the life over there, man. How about you guys?
Joe, it's pretty good. Now, I will say, your life seems to be pretty fantastic as well. Congrats, dude.
Yeah.
Hey, congratulations, man. This is really cool. Obviously, we've heard your story. You've had to talk about it here over the last couple of weeks because it's so abnormal about being on a couch for 11 weeks. Being a man who's as accomplished as you are, appreciated by former teammates and coaches as you are, not being able to have the opportunity to join a team or at least prove yourself in this backup quarterback year, and then boom, you become the guy. Your mental toughness, the way you're viewing it all has been nothing short of phenomenal, Joe. You need to know that.
Yeah.
Now let's talk about it a little bit. So there was alleged last week, I think it came out, that you or your agent reached out to the Jets and said like, hey, Joe, liked by teammates, showcased that last night after the game. Everybody came over and dapped you up. Was there other teams that you guys reach out to, or was it a waiting game for people to reach out to you? Like, what was those first 11 weeks, including training camp, I guess, like for you? You're just sitting around waiting, or are you guys actively seeking jobs with how many backup quarterbacks were needed this year?
Yeah, it was mostly a waiting game. I mean, listen, I know my agent. I know he was sitting at home kind of getting impatient and wanting to reach out to a bunch of different teams and do a bunch of different things when things came up. But listen, and I feel like I've been around the block a little bit in terms of how this works, and you kind of just have to sit back and wait. You definitely want to make sure you're proactive to a certain extent because you don't want to miss an opportunity just because you didn't ask. But at the same time, teams have to want to bring you in, so it's ultimately up to those guys to want to do it.
What were you hearing? Like, why was it not happening? Was there any reason?
I wasn't hearing anything. I mean, I was just kind of sitting at home, and who knows what the reason is. I really was trying not to worry about that, just trying to stay in my lane and do my thing and have faith that it was going to happen at some point. It was probably right on the brink of like, man, it's getting pretty late in the year. You start to crack a little bit. You start to have a little bit of those feelings like, is this going to work out? Because there was part of me in the offseason that was, at least trying to talk myself into the fact that being at home might be a thing that would work out better than actually signing with somebody in April, May, June, July, August, just because, at that point, you don't know what the team wants for you and you don't know what kind of team it's going to be that you're on and what your role is going to be. So there's definitely a lot of positives in being able to sit at home and have a team that really wants to win late in the year be able to call you. So that was kind of my mindset. But as the season goes on, like I said, you start to crack a little bit and you're just like, man, is it going to work out or not?
Yeah, well, that's a part of being, an elite athlete like you are. Yeah. When doubt creeps in, you got to get that mother, which we appreciate that is one of your go-tos.
Love it.
We love that is one of your words here on this particular program. You got to get those things out there, though. Are you working out every single day like you're an NFL quarterback? Like, how were you able to just get dropped in and go for 300? Oh, and we saw the first game, by the way. It was beautiful against the Rams. It was early in the game. I don't know if you heard us talk about this or if you even know that our show exists, but you threw a ball and you overthrew somebody by maybe 15 yards.
Yeah, at least.
And it felt like that was like a reminder to maybe yourself, also to Stefanski and to everybody, like, let's remember, okay, what is happening here. Have you been throwing all year? Were you working out all year? Can you tell us how you were just dropped in there out of nowhere and performed phenomenally?
One of my brothers actually saw that clip and was just pumped up about you talking about that. He loved that part of it for some reason, and I can't lie, it was pretty cool to hear. But no, it's not like it's impossible to do the same thing as you would be if you were with a team at practice every day, throwing to live guys, doing all that stuff. I basically extended my off season and stayed in the gym and did all those types of things. But in terms of throwing the football, I was doing it 2, sometimes 3 days a week, throwing to spots. I mean, you guys have probably heard at this point, I was throwing with my younger brother. My dad was out in the field kind of spot catching for us and things like that. I was making sure that if I did get signed, that my arm could deal with what it was going to with what it was going to go through over the next, however long I was going to be with the team.
Feels like it's a perfect fit for you in Cleveland right now, which is obviously something that we would have never said through a year ago, because the Baltimore Ravens run with Cleveland and Baltimore's history and everything like that. Cleveland gives the team to Baltimore. Baltimore, in return, gives. Here you go. Here's a veteran ready for absolutely everything. But I saw an interview you did last night, I think with Fitz during the tunnel talk, which you handled very well. But you said it was very obvious, like within the first week of being in the building, that it was a tight team. Like it was a good team, a good culture. What was it that you saw from Stefanski's culture in there? And what have you learned about him and the team over these short few weeks?
Well, I think just when you become when you're a new guy stepping into a locker room and like you get received the way I felt like I did, I think that's the first indication of, okay, maybe this team is for real. And then the way they went about their business and just the first couple of weeks I was here and the games that we went through, and you kind of start to find out about why these guys have as many wins as they did coming into this point. The resiliency, man, is just incredible. These guys have been dealing with all kinds of injuries all year, and you just step in, and when you come into that locker room and those team meeting rooms, you never would have known there was any doubt in anybody's minds or anything like that. Now, whether there was any of that creeping in, it's a credit to those guys to just put on a straight face and keep moving forward.
So one of the guys that obviously Amari Cooper breaks the franchise record last year.
Yeah, unreal.
Congrats to you too. You're a part of that.
Yep.
You're going to be right there
forever
on the thing there. So congrats. That's fantastic. 265. You two have had an immediate connection, but this tight end. So when you walk in that building and you see him and you go, well, what is that? The way he is built and how fast he is and everything like that. And then you learn he just ate fire. Just like his whole face. And then 2 days later, he's like, yup, doesn't matter. My face is back. Superhuman. You and this guy have had an incredible connection, and he's obviously playing his best football and living up to everything that he could possibly be with you being his quarterback. It's been fun to watch. How come, and when did you first realize, there's not a lot of humans in the history of Earth that are created like this guy?
Yeah, man, he's incredible. Funny story, they must have been watching one of Stavi's videos from a couple weeks before I got there, a week or two before I got there. So the first thing that he's doing is just coming up to me and saying, Joe Flacco. And, I didn't realize that they were watching those videos. I mean, everybody sends me his videos, which they're awesome.
Atta baby, Stavi! Yeah, that's awesome. We watch them too, yeah.
They must have been watching videos. Yeah, they must have been watching videos of his a week before I got there. And the next thing you know, I show up in the locker room. And, I mean, he's just an incredible teammate. His personality, the energy that he brings is just incredible. And obviously, you see the way he's built and how well he runs and just getting the ball in his hands and letting him move towards our goal line. It's something special to watch.
Yeah, you two have been fantastic. That natural feel that you have and the ability to know what every defense is going to do because you're an old-ass man now. Mm-hmm. You're old, dude. Hey, Ryan, you are old, bro. Uh-huh. I watched you whenever I was growing up.
Yeah, that's right.
You are.
I don't know if that's true, but I like the stories.
Yeah.
Let it go.
You look young, and Tone's going to ask you a question about how you're playing here in about a matter of moments, but everything you've been through obviously helps you every single game. The internet with you right now, top tier.
Unreal.
Yeah. Top tier internet happening with you right now. You are a big-time babyface on the internet right now. You need to know that, especially with how this story could end up. It's going to be maybe greatest internet run for any football person in the history of football, and the league's been around a long time. Did you see this particular tweet here? It was majestic here from Cameron. Practice against Ed Reed and Ray Lewis every day for 10 years, and y'all thought he'd fold to Sauce Gardner. Okay, now, no ball's won Sauce Gardner's way, and you are yawning, okay, past bedtime. I understand you're old man.
Past
sleepy.
Bedtime. Way past bedtime, yeah.
Okay, so you're an old-ass man who's falling asleep on the sideline while throwing for 300 yards and clinching a playoff spot for the Cleveland Browns. But, how much recall are you having in these games? In the first couple games, was it just like riding a bike for you? Was there how much is coming back to you every single week, seemingly?
There's nothing like getting thrown out on an NFL football field. I mean, especially when you've done it for a decent amount of time and played as many games as I have, it definitely comes back to you pretty quick because you get all those same senses kind of come rushing in. And it takes you right back to where you are, especially, like I said, I've said it before, like when you're in Cleveland and you can smell the grass and you're in front of that crowd.
Yes.
So it all comes running right back to you. And it's just, I don't know, it's an awesome feeling. So having the added success that we've had the last few weeks just makes it that much more special.
Is it turf there in Cleveland, or what is it?
No, it's grass.
It's what?
It's you just want to keep getting me to say my A's the way I say them.
Yeah.
I'm an East Coast. I'm an East Coast guy, man. I'm used to guys, kind of getting after my accent. It is what it is.
Yeah, I had it there. I didn't know how many times we're going to be able to.
You sound like you got a little Pittsburgh to you.
A little bit.
Where are you actually from?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah, a little bit there. It is like whenever they put your resume together at the end of this thing, the guys you've played against.
Man. Yeah.
And then, like, the guys you completed passes to, and now this 2023 resurgence. It's a beautiful thing. Tone has a question for you, Joe.
Yeah, Joe, I'm a Steelers fan, so I watched a lot of Joe Flacco career. And I get me saying this is going to, or even asking this is going to be stupid because the run that you had in 2012 with the Super Bowl was all time. But does this stretch that you're on with the Browns, does that rank up there as far as the best that you have played in your career?
I think if you look at it statistically, you could probably say that. But I think, I think it would be hard to say. I think in terms of how this feels, I mean, it's definitely one of the most special runs up to this point. So we just got to keep it going. But it doesn't always come down to statistics and throwing for 300-yard games and throwing touchdowns and things like that. There's other ways to play good games, so it would be tough to rank it off the top of my head. But I can just tell you the way
it's ESPN. Rank it, okay? It's ESPN. Rank it now.
It just the way it feels like, and then having grown kids and like more people that I like just couldn't care more about to enjoy it with. You can't. It's tough to describe how special that part of it is.
So it happens in the wrestling business where guys are at the top of WWE. They have kids. By the time their kids are old enough to be wrestling fans, dad, mom, not there yet, right? Not still there. Right. So then they go back and have a run, and it's like they're getting a chance to like show their kids almost what they are. Like, you've heard about this. You've seen highlights of this. You have Uncle Ray Lewis talking about this and Uncle Bart Scott on ESPN going bananas about Joe Flacco. But getting to show them, is it a perspective thing, you think? Like, does it make you lock in a little bit more? Does it make you, what does it do kind of from that whole standpoint?
Yeah, there's definitely something about it, man. Listen, I played a couple games for the Jets starting 3 years ago, and we weren't winning a lot, obviously. And I came home, and I just still remember my kids looking up at me, and they were like, 30 to 10, Dad, 30 to 10. Like, what the hell? And I remember getting on the floor with them, and like for the first time in my life, like Googling Joe Flacco and watching highlights against us, like beating the Pittsburgh Steelers, just so I could show them kind of, who their dad was, like, hey, I didn't always lose 30 to 10. And now to have this experience and get them experience it in real time is unbelievable.
They'll always remember it, Like they will always remember it. In the perspective thought of it, because I'm a journalist. I don't know if you know that, Joe. I'm a journalist.
What's so funny?
You laughing about, Joe?
Dude, I can't say nothing about that. You've been unbelievable.
I'm a journalist, dude.
Let's go.
Away from game, might lose game, thinking about cracking, letting the doubt kind of seep in. Maybe you're not going to have football. Change your, because I think you said in one of the post-game speeches in the locker room where you said, I feel like I'm a 10-year-old out here. Is that real? Like, what, and why is that, you think?
Listen, man, like, no matter what you do for a living, you look at it as a job to some extent. But I think you still have to remind yourself every now and then how lucky you are. Even when you're playing day in and day out, you have to remind yourself, you have to take a step back and remind yourself how lucky you are to play a child's game. And people always say that, but it's just so hard to do when you're in the moment. So when you get to have a couple years of, not playing as much football as you wanted to, and then sitting at home on the couch a little bit, it definitely can kind of change your view on things and just allow you to kind of approach these games with a little bit different perspective. And it allows you to just play more, however you go out there and play more free and more confident. It definitely helps with that.
Yeah, and I assume you're enjoying the wins a little bit more than maybe you did in the past too, right?
There's no doubt, man. I mean, listen, there's a lot of wins at some points in the career, and then you go through tough stretches, just like everybody does. And it reminds you of how hard it is to win in this league. So when you win,
Nah,
man,
not this, Joe. 2023, Joe Flacco. Shit's easy. We win. That's what we just win. I'm happy you're enjoying it, Joe. You deserve it, pal. Connor has a question for you.
Yeah, Joe, obviously, kind of new to the locker room in these last 5 weeks. And one of the things that happens, I feel like, when guys come into a new place, whether it's work or, a team, is you get a nickname. And last night on X, there were a lot of people throwing nicknames around. There was a Cool Joe 2.0. There was also a Gray Joe, kind of like Burrow. There was a Snoozy Joe, obviously, and then there was also, which I thought was the best one, Footsteps Flacco. Have you been dubbed?
He created that one, so you know.
Well, that's besides the point. That is besides the point. It has been catching on, and people like it. But have you been dubbed anything in the locker room, or are you just kind of people coming up to you and you going up to people, Tiger Woods, big dog, all the time?
Yeah, I don't think so, man. You have to ask. You could probably ask Njoku and stuff like that, what some of the guys are saying. But it's crazy just the way they look at you. They look at me like I'm like 60 years old. So who knows what the nicknames are? I'm sure they'll keep coming in, and hopefully everybody has fun with it, man. The internet, like you guys are talking about, the internet. People are creative, man. It's insane what people can come up with. It's a lot of fun to people. Listen, I try to avoid looking at that stuff, but you can't. Everybody sends you everything, and you end up seeing it all, and it's a blast.
Yeah, shout out to your brother, by the way. Showing our clip to you, man. Big fan of that guy. What's his name?
Tom.
Hey, baby. Tommy.
Tom Flacco.
Tommy Flacco. Ty has a question for you, Joe.
Joe, obviously, you're in the moment right now and everything is incredible. You guys still have everything ahead of you. But from where you were at just like a couple, months ago, has your mind started to kind of wander to next year yet? Just like the fact that, like, hey, there's a chance that you're going to get another $100 million. And, like, you do still have a lot of good football left. Like, has any of that type of stuff started to creep into your head yet about wanting to play more, and whether that's in Cleveland or somewhere else or whatever may happen? Have you started to think about any of that kind of stuff yet, or is it tough when you guys are kind of right in the middle of this, potential playoff run here?
Only to the extent that, like, I think people still, even though I've kind of made it clear that I want to play, people still have that question, like, dude, you're sure you still want to play? And I'm like, yeah, dude, I still want to go. And
why do you think they wonder? Because you're old, family? What do you think?
I don't know. I think part of it is it's not too many times that you play with a team for a really long time and then it doesn't work out and you kind of get a little injured and this happens and that happens, but you're willing to kind of take that backup role and do this and in hopes that at some point you can get back to that level where you think that you should be. I think to a lot of people, you can look at that from the outside and say, oh man, he could have hung it up a year or two ago and been perfectly fine with, however he felt about it. But that's just not what I wanted to do. I just kind of felt like I needed to keep going and felt like I owed it to myself to keep going. So I think that definitely factors into it.
How's the body?
It feels great, man. I mean, listen, these guys are doing a great job of protecting me. I got a lot of room in the pocket right now. And, as a quarterback, it's always week to week. One week you're completely clean. The next week you get you get blown up 30 times and you don't feel as good, but it's been great, man.
You having all those answers, by the way, from playing so long is such a weapon for the Cleveland Browns, which doesn't make sense why nobody else, you get hit in the head, Quinnen.
Yeah.
Hey, you knee drive.
Where was the flag on that, by the way?
Oh, I asked the same question, Joe. Anybody else is getting that call, by the way, especially this year. How about you knee driving right there, though? How about that, huh? How about it?
Classic footsteps.
How about
Classic footsteps.
And then Ford obviously finishing it for you.
What a great job. Yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah, it is awesome. But, like, body feels good, huh? You were running sprints all year? Like, I pulled a hamstring. What was that, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I pulled a hamstring in here running a sprint. I'm 36. I'm younger than you are. Like, body feels good. Like, you're in great shape right now, it seems like, right?
Yeah, I feel great, man. Hey, listen, I've gotten in a routine the last 15 years of kind of understanding how to take care of my body. It's just kind of part of life now. Shout out to my trainer, Brian Kane. I mean, I owe it to him. I mean, he's kind of kept me in shape over the last 15 years, and it's been unbelievable.
You eat weird or you eat, like, good food?
Listen, I follow stuff a good portion of the year, and then I go off the rails a good portion of the year. It is what it is. You have to do everything, in little spurts. So I enjoy my sweets. I gotta keep it down with those, but
holiday season too. Big win.
Oh yeah.
He's probably always at Jimmy's too.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Chuck Pagano.
For sure.
Hey, that place started potentially with their little cicada festival parade. They had Jimmy's Famous, great food, unbelievable food.
Yeah.
But people are saying that COVID started at the cicada festival
In Malta.
that they had. How did you hear that, Joe? I don't know if you heard that.
I didn't hear that. No.
It must have just been a rumor, I guess.
I don't know who started it.
That place is awesome.
Ask around Cleveland, they'll tell you.
Yeah, ask them how it's going. All right, Joe, we appreciate taking up this amount of time in your day. Okay.
Yeah, fellas, I appreciate it, man. It's been awesome.
Congrats on the run right now. And football's football, so who knows what the hell everything else looks like. But I'm happy that you'll be able to have this run forever right now with the Cleveland Browns. And shout out to Cleveland being the team that took a shot on you. Andrew Berry's a good man.
You got it.
All right. Cheers, man. Ladies and gentlemen, quarterback of the Cleveland Browns. Future Hall of Famer, Joe Flacco.
Yeah, Joe.